Even though it was late in the night, she found it difficult to rest. All she could think about was the young man, and she worried about whether he was all right. She quietly left the bedroom and went into the room where he was because she wanted to see how he was doing. When she approached the bed, she looked at him for a moment as he slept. She was hesitant at first for the fear of waking him, but then she gently touched the side of his face and his forehead. He was still feverish, so she took another washcloth and ran it under some cold water, and then she took it into the room and put it on the young man's forehead. Then she quietly left the room. She went back into the room where she was staying and sat down on the bed. It wasn't long after that when she noticed the young man standing at the doorway of the room. "What are you doing?" he asked. She didn't respond. "Why aren't you asleep? Are you trying to run away again?" the young man asked. "No," she said. "Then why are you still awake?" the young man asked. "Because I can't sleep," she said. "Why not?" the young man asked. "I'm worried about you," she said. Before he had a chance to say anything, she continued to speak. "Maybe it would help if you were here with me," she said. "What do you mean? I am here with you," the young man said. "No, I mean with me, as in you in the room with me," she said. The young man said nothing as he looked at her nervously. "If you were with me, at least I would know if you're all right," she said. "I'm not so sure if it's such a good idea," the young man said. Then he sighed before he entered the room. She could see that he was nervous. When he approached the bed, he stood there for a moment with a nervous expression on his face. Then he sat down beside her. She reached up and touched the side of his face as she looked into his eyes. She sat up, and then she took him in her arms. She could feel the rapid beating of his heart as he rested against her. He let out another sigh as she gently touched the side of his face. As time went on, he became calmer, and eventually, he drifted off to sleep. She looked at his face, and then she smiled. Suddenly, she felt butterflies in her stomach as she continued to look at his face. Then she kissed his forehead, before she sighed as she hugged him. It wasn't much longer after that when she also fell asleep with him resting in her arms.